What's up, people? Mr. Sapone here, and today we're going to do some clock problems. I like to give you clock problems on your test, kind of see if you have any number awareness, if you can still read a clock. Clock goes from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. How many seconds go by? This is one of the easier ones. Hopefully we know that if we're going from 3 p.m., it's gonna go. Big hand's gonna go around twice. We're gonna end up at 5 p.m. That's 2 hours. So all we have to do here is convert 2 hours into seconds. And we start with 2 hours. The unit we start, we need to get rid of hours. And we want to go into seconds, but a lot of people don't know how many seconds are in an hour. We know there's 3,600 in Mrs. Spone's classes, but usually we're going to convert into minutes first. 1 hour is 60 minutes. And we got rid of the hours. And of course, we're going to multiply by another blank fraction. Minutes up here, minutes down here, seconds here. 60 seconds is 1 minute, and that will equal 7,200 seconds. So this is an easier problem. I do give you some harder problems, and there is a way you can add and subtract time. You subtract the hours, subtract the minutes. If the minutes are negative, add 60. This works sometimes. When you're dealing with lengths of time, it works, but when you're dealing with clock problems, this will certainly break. If you go from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., well, this is telling us to subtract the hours. 11 minus 1 is 10. Or even if you did 1 minus 11 is negative 10. If you went from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., that is not 10 hours. That is 2 hours. So when you're dealing with clocks, these rules aren't always going to help you. If you're staying within one 12-hour period, p.m. to a.m., they will work. But some of the problems I gave you, these will not work. So you have to be careful and make sure that they actually apply to the case you are given. So again, the clock starts at 3 p.m. The big hand has to go around twice, and it will get to 5, and we end up with 7,200 seconds. So we have a slightly more difficult problem. A clock goes from 2:15 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. And hopefully, I know we don't really have analog clocks anymore, but this is 45. All right, this is 30. This is 15, and so on. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45. Back to 60 minutes right there, and starts at 0. Starts the process again. The big hand goes around. So if a clock is going from 2:15 to 7:45, how many seconds go by? Well, the easiest way for me to do this is to break this into parts. There's many ways you can do it, but I would say 2:15. If you're starting at 2:15 to 3:15 to 4:15 to 5:15 6:15 7:15, 2:15 to 7:15 is 5 hours. And of course, to go from 7:15 to 7:45, we can subtract 45 and 15. That's 30 minutes. So we know 5 hours and 30 minutes went by. So that's how I would do a problem like that. And there's many ways you can figure out clock problems. But so again, 2:15 to 7:15 is 5 hours. And if you were to go to 7:15 to 7:45, that's 30 minutes. And of course, 5 hours, we could convert that into minutes. We start with what we want to convert. We want to convert 5 hours times 60 minutes per hour, so the hours cancel. The unit up here is the unit we're left with. That's going to be 300 minutes. So 5 hours is going to be 300 minutes, and we have another 30 minutes. So really all we have to do is take 300 plus 30. We need to convert 330 minutes into seconds, and we have the answer to this question. And that's what we did right here. 330 minutes. All right, we start with 330 minutes, start with the unit we want to convert, multiply by a blank fraction. The unit we want to convert goes down here, so units cancel in division. 60 seconds is 1 minute. That's my conversion factor. 330 times 60 is 19,800 seconds. So that's how we do that problem. The first step for you is going to figure out if a clock's going from 2:15 to 7:45, you have to figure out how many hours and minutes went by. Convert them probably into minutes, and then minutes into seconds. Convert the hours into minutes, the minutes into seconds. So sometimes if I have you go from PM to AM, it could be a little bit of a pain. But I think you are capable of doing it. So a clock goes from 1:15 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. You're starting at 1:15 in the afternoon, and you're going to 12:30 at night. How many seconds go by? This is a tough one. One way to think of this is to break it in parts. If we start at 1:15, if this hand were to go all the way around, it would now be 2 o'clock. 15 minutes there, 15, 15. If we went from 1:15, if we went from 1:15 p.m. to 2 p.m., that would equal 45 minutes. And if we went from 2 p.m., we got to go to 12:30. If we went from 2 p.m. to midnight, 2 to 3, if it's 2 o'clock, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 10 hours to go from 2 p.m. to midnight. 2 p.m. to 12 a.m. equals 10 hours. And of course, we're going from 12 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. equals 30 minutes. So we have 10 hours and 75 minutes, because 45 and 30 is 75 minutes, or 11 hours and 15 minutes. But we're going to want to convert everything to minutes. And if we have 10 hours times hours there, so hours got to go down here. We want to go into minutes. 60 minutes is 1 hour. And hopefully you know 10 times 60 equals 600 minutes. Plus the 75 other ones we have here, this equals 600 minutes. And we had 45 and 30 more, so that's going to equal 675 minutes in 2 seconds. And that would be what we would have to convert using conversion factors. So there are many ways you can figure out clock problems. That's how I would do it. I mean, you can go from, you can subtract that any way you want, but this is one of the harder ones because it's going from a PM to an AM. But again, 1:15 to 2 p.m. is 45, 2 p.m. to 12 a.m. is 10 hours, and so on. Exactly what we just did. We have 675 minutes. Minutes here, converted into seconds, it's 40,500. So I think we're going to have done enough conversions where the conversion isn't going to be hard. For some of us, figuring out how many hours and minutes go by because we are so used to our digital clocks is going to be the tricky part. So that's going to take a little work on your end. Break the problem into parts if you need to. 1:15 to 2 is 45 minutes. 2 to 12 is 10 hours. 12 to 12:30 is 30 minutes. Then you add it all back together. Convert them to the proper unit. So make the problem simpler by breaking into parts. And hopefully that helps you a little bit with my crazy clock problems. This is the phone. I'm out.